Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to today's video and part 2 of the Sasuke Star Pupil series. So last episode we started off the prologue with Sasuke performing an Ice Kick Genkai in order to stop a flaming car, completely shocking Konohamaru as he explained it to be a mixture of two different natures, an ice technique all impressive yet doesn't match to his successor Haku. And that pretty much covers what happened last video. Nothing too informative, but still doesn't take away how impressive it was. Now as for today's video, we are going to be discussing the events after, how Sasuke managed to save Konohamaru from a situation that left him hopeless. So just after Sasuke finishes up explaining his eye style to Konohamaru, a teenage girl with red hair, earrings, and nails decorated with glitter appears from behind, shocked at what suddenly happened to the car, wondering why her seat was frozen solid. As Konohamaru explains the situation to the girl, Sasuke asks where she's been and the information on the first class passengers, but she informs them both that she is the only person as she rented the whole cartage. Sasuke then asks Konohamaru if he's seen anyone suspicious on his way to the last car, but denies, stating that he traveled through the roof. Whatever happened inside is unknown to him. Sasuke then predicts that the person who planted the bomb must still be inside the train, seeing as how the bomb had a time fuse. If the perpetrator had employed a bomb to cause the explosion, then it was safe to assume that the crime was the work of someone who couldn't use ninjutsu. And if they couldn't use ninjutsu, chances are that they are still on the train. But just then, another explosion occurred, this time at the head of the train. With the train speed increasing, Sasuke in the blink of an eye popped out of the last car and into the explosion, without even catching his breath before jumping into the smoke. Konohamaru figures that with Sasuke's eye style technique, he'll be able to stop the moving parts of the vehicle, since the control panel is likely destroyed, meaning it's his job to find the culprit. As Konohamaru passed through two cars, he comes across a woman scared shitless holding a baby. Konohamaru manages to calm her down by again informing her that he is a hidden leaf shinobi, and just as Konohamaru turned his back to the woman needing to move forward, she calls for him, and just as he turns towards her, the baby she was holding gets sent flying to him. Just as Konohamaru tried to catch it, the baby turned into a ninja in deep purple costume and thrusted a kunai towards Konohamaru, who manages to barely dodge it, the blade still scraping his cheek. Just then the mother kicks Konohamaru in his back, realizing that another ninja must have also used transformation to trick him. After trying to deal with the ninja in front of him, he notices a shuriken being thrown his way. Being able to dodge it, he takes a good look at the man who transformed as a baby. He notices that the man still had a bib tied around his neck, a vestige of the baby transformation. The big man deemed Konohamaru as a Jonin, based on the way he was able to carry himself. Just then the train begins to slow down. The impression was that Sasuke managed to freeze the mechanical parts like Konohamaru predicted. Just then the other ninja with a mole on his face stepped in front of the man with the bib, telling him that we will take care of it. As one of the car doors opened, a new ninja appeared, making it 3 against 1. Then another, and another, and another. And as soon as Konohamaru realized it, it became 12v1. At this point, the 12 ninja closed in on Konohamaru, forcing him to back up until he bumped against the door that was forced to stop. He couldn't believe that he would have to fight 12 ninjas in such a small train car. Just then, all 12 ninjas slashed at him from 3 different directions. And unfortunately for Konohamaru, there was nowhere to run. He thought of using shadow clones, but melee in such a small room could have been too dangerous. He was slumped, unable to think on what to do to get himself out of the situation. And as he was only focused on dodging their attacks, a gust of hot wind blasted past him, the fireball jutsu technique. The enemy ninja flinched and retreated, forced back by the sudden eruption of crimson flames. The man with the mole instantly recognized who the jutsu caster was, Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke stood over Konohamaru, who was still crouched on the floor, and as calm as ever, simply asking him for the situation. Konohamaru informed Sasuke that this is probably their entire enemy squad, with the leader most likely being the man with the bib. Sasuke then orders Konohamaru to take them alive, and just as Konohamaru spoke words, the man in purple at the far end of the enemy line was already frozen and falling to the floor, and the man next to him also dropped to his knees and toppled over. Yes, in the blink of an eye, Sasuke managed to take down 2 ninjas. And as another desperate in protecting their leader charges at Sasuke, without a word, Sasuke thrusts his blade downward. The ninja tried to catch the sword stroke with his wrist, but failed to absorb the blow completely, getting sent flying back against the wall. Seeing as how the man in the bib knew they stood no chance, he literally bounces out of the car, but for some reason, Sasuke chooses not to go after him. Konohamaru then realized that he wasn't at all paying attention to the man, meaning that it was probably his duty to go after him. After alternating between hand strikes and the back of his sword, Sasuke knocks out his enemies cold one after the other. Even just in terms of speed alone, he was on an entirely different level than his opponents. Even though outnumbering him, they stood no chance at all, dropping like flies. And that is where I'm going to end today's reading here. I think the biggest thing we can take from this, and y'all are probably thinking the same, is how differently both Sasuke and Konohamaru took being put in a nasty nasty situation, a 12v1. I think everyone watching knows that this should definitely not have been a problem to Sasuke. He and Naruto are literally demigods, and I feel like this part of the novel actually did him justice. There was literally no way Sasuke should have fumbled in this situation. But on Konohamaru's side, and yes, he is no Sasuke, he even acknowledged the difference between Sasuke's skills and his, but these are ninjas that can use ninjutsu. I guess it was 12 of them and it was pretty cramped up, but the fact that he couldn't even get close to them to attack while Sasuke was able to take 2 down without anyone even realizing it happened right away really shows how much stronger characters like Naruto and Sasuke are to everyone else. This has been part 2 of the Sasuke Star Pupil story, and I'd love to know how you guys are feeling about the reading so far in the comments down below. Part 3 should be out before next week's chapter review, so be on the lookout for that in a couple days. As always guys, I appreciate you all for watching until the end, and I'll catch you on the next one.